Dumelang bana beso. Today in the studio, in our beautiful Fola Podcast, ke na le ngwaneso, ngwana mme, my sister from another man, mother, mokwena wa heso.
Hey, yummy.
He, ke mos.
Motivate.
Motivate. Nna ke wa rahlaho, mare ha re se re qetella re re ke motivate.
Hey.
Ke mokwena, ke ngwaneso. And with my beautiful daughter, Ntokozo Wankosi, honor student, psychology. Nna ka lebitso ke Jolane. I'm an entrepreneur. I call myself an entrepreneur. It sounds better, right? I'm an engineer and entrepreneur. When you combine the two words, I'm an entrepreneur. But in this context, ke ausi, ke ausjwale. Ke auswa lona. O bola,
Ngwaneso.
ha ne re ka bona magazine,
Eh.
ka mo ka morao, e ne na le
Sis Dolly. What's
Sis Dolly.
Sis Dolly?
na le Sis
Ne re ba
Dolly.
tshe.
Montokozo ba tsebe nix. Ha le tsebe Sis Dolly.
I don't.
Ne re tshe ya bo
Yeah.
Sis Dolly re re mathata a batho.
Sis Dolly is where you could write anonymously, and you could write anything that you want to know.
Have you guys ever written this is story?
No, we'd read the stories.
I would read a lot and I'd be like, hey, batho ba go amma.
I would read a lot, and some of the stories I would identify with them, or at least I know someone. I'm like, this story sounds like Samang Man.
Yeah.
But Sis Dolly was aimed at having those difficult questions or interesting questions that would not necessarily go and ask your mom or your aunt, you'll be anonymous, like, I'm pregnant, I don't know what to do, it's my cousin's son. And so you could write things that do not necessarily broach the subject comfortably at home. So Nelly is Dolly. So Nakis is Joali. Hey, so Musa, what happened after the last episode? Tell us.
Wow. I think what an amazing welcome from you guys, our viewers. Like,
Yes.
I definitely
Definitely.
think women needed this because literally it's only 3 episodes and the response has been
Overwhelming.
overwhelming. Like so many people come to you and they're like, Musa re inviting, Musa let's event in Musa re hloka ho bohla. Like I was like, what?
I think people are receiving it well because it's so multifaceted. It has, your guys' reach and women in your seasons and your age, and it also approaches women in young adulthood. So I think the duality and the multifaceted nature about it allows us to not have barriers of age
Yeah.
or sexuality or spirituality, but it's broad and every woman is welcome to listen and be heard and relate and comment.
Yes.
I think for Nai, it's overwhelming, but it's also mind-opening. Sometimes you start something, ne? Remember one day I was just sitting and we just started having a conversation with Ntokozo. I'm like, what if you do this? What if you do this? And my doctor as well, Dr. Anne, you're going to meet her later on. I used to say, some of the things that we go through, our experiences, it needs to be shared. And when one finds one's voice, it's easier to share the experiences.
Yeah.
And sometimes you hope maybe to reach 1 or 2 people only. And you wish by that you would have made a difference. And when it reaches the masses that it has now, it's overwhelming. It's also very emotional to see that leeto le lo leng ho lona, ha re tsamaye re le bang. Ho na le batho ba bang ba le bona ba bang impacted ke leeto lena le bona. Yeah. So mokgotsi ngwaneso a e ga leboha man. A e ga leboha man.
Very grateful.
Bona ho tshweng ka Sesotho matsoho a tlala diatla ko leboha.
Sure.
Ha re kene tabeng.
Ha re iphunyeng.
Yeah.
Ha iphunya la tseba ha ke re se le tseba bana ha re phunya taba re sebedisa kgalase e.
The bullet glass.
La bona
Come.
e na le kulo ka hare go tsho gore we go straight to the heart of the beast. Le skela le bala
already
ka
take
mona
a
ka
sip.
ntlong ya lapeng re tsamaya ka petrol seng hampe. Re tsamaya re enoka tseleng. There's a lady. Last time we covered mental health. I spoke about my season of battling mental health, where I was admitted in a mental institution for 21 days where I collapsed, like I broke down. And Nirena Lemoeti, I was Retabile Matikana Gotia. She covered her experience of mental health after losing a child. We went into context, or mental health ka nako re ke bohlanya. Sesotho ha se re lefu la kelello se re wa hlanya. Se borofo ba
Sehlaha.
Sehlaha. Empa ke Sesotho ha se tolong.
Amen.
We received, I received personally in my DMs, women who are going through mental health themselves, or someone in their family is going through mental health. And I wish to say to Ntokozo, can you speak in this context, not to me as your mom, but for you as an honest psychology student, so that the awkwardness of the conversation is not there. So there's a lady who wrote to us. I wish to keep her anonymous. One, to protect her and her sister. Ne? This lady says to us that one, her sister has become a narcissist. This lady says, my sister is unhappy. All of us as a family, we don't know how to deal with her. She's nasty, if I can use the word nasty. She's unruly. She's also mean. We don't know how to help her. My sister's going through a divorce and she was married to a narcissist. I do not like using the word narcissist personally because I think we put labels that are not professionally diagnosed to certain things,
That's very
narcissist
true.
and psychopath and. So I wish to use the word maybe unhealed, because then in this context, it will say my sister is unhealed. My sister is rough to us as a family. My sister is rude. My sister is that, because she was married to someone who is unhealed. Therefore, when you use that word, it therefore makes sense to, I don't know, nna, ke le jwala ne ke tsamaya strateng, ke kgona ho utlwisisa where you're coming from. Now, let's talk about reverse unhealed, how unhealed scenario that people go through, how it manifests itself in the victim, and the victim behaves that way outwards. So meaning, ke nna ke mme wa hao, I'm unhealed, I was with an unhealed person. And then I take those traits, the unhealed person, I start living them like a project, ke di phela la di bona.
I mean, that's difficult. I think it's a difficult one because, firstly, I think anyone and everyone, when you're going through a difficult time or you're in mental health distress or your behavior has changed, I don't think you realize most of the time. I think it's the people around you that would be like, okay, something is wrong, something is amiss. And I think for me, it isn't my position to tell the anonymous what to do or what not to do about her sister. I think all I can say is to be more tolerable and compassionate. And it takes time for any individual to face themselves, to have a conversation with themselves, to get to the point where they realize that now something needs to change.
So you're saying that it's not, you don't know yourself that you are in a dwang.
Yes,
Okay.
and I think it requires environment or people around you to be more tolerable. And I think already in like Black communities, it's already a difficult conversation to have, and to be like, no, but we assume when we have our basic needs met that you should be fine. You should still be satisfied. You should still be whole or healed or continue moving. And it's horrible because now, even when you have, financial stability or you have, everything that you need, for lack of a better word, you can still have an emotional gap that manifests, especially when something traumatic happens to you. and you don't know what to do about it. You don't know where to put it. You don't know where to pack it. You don't know what to do about it. And it's a difficult thing to unpack.
I've got to follow up with what you're saying, and maybe it's something that I've noticed having gone to therapy, because probably Lina, at some point when I was wishing, I wasn't a very pleasant person, right? And at some point I was also projecting to my loved ones, right? But I guess for me, I think that the takeout is invest in whether therapy or counseling, or I promise you there are I can say organizations that give therapy for free, so as a sister, maybe you can go the extra mile. O kila bona o check or okay, maybe hona le lifeline kae kae, hona le helpline kae kae, and get your sister to go talk, because again o ka thola hore maybe the sister is not ha tlo phora pelo ya hae to you as ausi wa hae or the mom or whatever. But you can just go the extra mile and be like, listen, I've actually organized someone that we can go and talk to. I can wait for you, ka mola ka ntle, but your journey to Fola really starts with you expressing, where you currently are, how you're currently feeling. And there's always then the experienced, smart person that studied that will be able to put a name to that. Hore actually this is reverse ntontoni, or fancy.
But I think I hear what you're saying, but also would like to add that superficially we say, yeah, you can go to a person, there are free clinics and people that can help, but accessibility is tough. Mental health right now in this country is very, it's bad. And now with GBV rates and unemployment, mental health is at an all-time bad. And so now finding enough counselors, therapists, even just community health workers, it's a lot. It's a lot to get that access, to get those platforms and those resources. And also, if you grew up in a home that has generational trauma, that being narcissists or being nasty or being withdrawn about your emotions is normal and it's normalized, it's hard for you to recognize that there's a problem or there's an issue to begin with. If it's your grandmother was the same and your mother was the same and you are now the same, and now you carrying all of this generational habits that you may even now, your children would start to unconsciously behave that way, and then their children, and then their children. So sometimes it takes something disruptive to make you recognize that, wow.
I like that sometimes it takes something disruptive. So yes, I would say
yes,
base ba tsholo bomme, counseling, for me I'll say family support, sympathy, listening. And also we need to realize that for me in my journey, besides going to a mental institution, I relied a lot on church. I'm a healer as well. So I went deep into my spirituality, meditation. So it was just not about the Western way of healing. It was both family, it was me journaling, me hiking, I learned to swim. So just getting out of nature and waking up every day and making a conscious decision that I'm going to do something today for myself for only 10 minutes. It only started with the 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So I'm now on year 5. I can now run 25 Ks easily.
yes.
But had you come to me 5 years ago when I was just not even able to wake up, I would have said that was just impossible, right? So it's baby steps. And also, I'm grateful that I was able to open up and surround myself in a safe space within a group of friends. And mostly friends, not even family, mostly friends who would then support me and provide that cushion for me to vent out comfortably. So yeah, it's not over. It's not over.
And
Definitely never over.
If there needs to come a point where it gets really ugly, like there's that one session where you must just release. Kore, Lille, ho tswe mamina, if she must release, then as the family, as the sister, because you care for your sister, create that space. Happening without judgment, so that then she gets that clarity, and then we decide, okay, what are we doing next? So allow for that to happen. Like, we've been strong for too long. Allow for that to happen. Allow for her to be at her most vulnerable point. Create that safe environment for her. Let her cry it out if she wants to cry it out. Let it get ugly. And then after that, putting her.
Yeah.
So that she can regain that strength. Hanyane.
And that falling apart. Remember, when you are with an unhealed person, and when you are unhealed, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of unheard evidence of abuse. Meaning, boss was only one. Motho ko seterateng, o happy. Ha fihla ka tlung, o sotha. Wow, your confidence is being chipped away. Sarcasm, belittling, ignoring of feelings, control. Don't wear this, rage. And also the perception that the abuser gets away with it. I think there's something that made me, when I reflect on this, I used to be so angry because I could feel that the perpetrator or the unhealed person who was so mean to me got away with it. And that made me so angry. So, and then and then isolation. Also remember, the unhealed person will isolate you from family and friends.
Yes.
So be sympathetic when you're dealing with your sister. Also, like Mosa Acho, mudumela atube, so that you can at least understand where she's coming from. Thank you so much. Now we pack that topic, mental health. We hope we are able to wrap it up. Banabeso. Ngwaneso.
Yes.
Ngwaneso. And then we received, we won't spend too much time on this one, but we'll give it, sorry, Nana. This one, it may be difficult for you to contribute, but then you contribute as a professional. We received a letter. It's someone that says, I spoke about, Austratabler spoke about losing a child at birth. I spoke about having a difficult birth where I had what you call an episiotomy, where my vagina tore. And then white people had to stitch it up. And then I had semi-prolapse. They call it uterus prolapse, semi. So I had to be cut, and then they had to lift the uterus to go back to its place and then restitch the vagina.
Yes.
And this lady says she's 32. She gave birth at 14. She said she gave birth in a normal government hospital. And the nurses kept on saying to her how the baby got in. It's how the baby must get out, must exit the
And how many people have actually experienced that? You'd be
She
shocked.
said she's now 33. She only has that one child. She's married, she's 33. She's miscarried twice. And from the Fola episode, she's starting to realize that her miscarriages are perhaps based on her suffering, anxiety, attacks, and being anxious about how she's going to give birth. And she'll miscarry, first one in first trimester, and the second child, she miscarried second trimester. I don't know what to say. Should you pack that maybe to Dr. N
Yes.
later on?
I think so.
Okay, let's pack that one. Because,
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what to say. So she asked me how I managed. So I'm going to be open, maybe talk about my experience, and then we'll take it over from there. I was helped by Nkhono, Mama Hamausa. She's a traditional healer. She's also a midwife in a traditional way.
Okay.
I used to go to her for perineal massage. So literally, I lie down and she'll do the perineal massage on that tissue that had hardened when they stitched up the vagina. So she'll massage that. I used to go for pelvic strengthening exercises. We are now, as Fola, we're procuring a pelvic floor exercise chair where you sit and then it helps the pelvic muscle exercise. I did hypnotherapy. I did womb-specific hypnotherapy just to deal with the womb and all the traumas associated with that. And after I had spent a lot of time with Dr. N, I relived the experience in a positive way. So meaning one day I woke up, I put water in the bath, I lit candles. I pretended that I'm giving birth in a water bath with a doula present. So I played music, I massaged my stomach. So I was just relieving myself to, to take that trauma, that experience away. It doesn't completely go away, but I'm trying to relieve that experience in a positive way. And also made a decision after I had Ntokozo, that was Ntokozo's experience, that every child that I have, I'm not going to push the child out. Hell no. They must cut the child out. so the anxiety was taken away by the better planning that I would plan with my gynae, like now and then, that I'm going to work hard to be able to afford C-section, and I'll plan for the child to be delivered in a certain way, certain time, specialist doctor, and so on and so on, to take out the odds of panicking, and also giving it to God, giving it to God,
100%.
guys.
Definitely.
Nezimbiza ziyasebenza sisi. Izipizza ziyasebenza.
Ziyathusa.
Ask me, ziyathusa dipizza. Kana dipizza, like kana dipizza. Yeah, kafola.
No, I think from
Kafola.
one of the whole birthing situation or birthing conversation we had, right? I think it deserves its own episode. Like, like I want us to have a gynae who's going to explain hore eng ka jwang. And let's have a midwife, for example. If Rika Tola me ana uthusa mhlomo, who's gonna come in from a different angle and also just decipher, okay, this is how the body works, how to paper, because for me it's about just sharing that knowledge to someone who might not have a nkgono a leng teng a tlo mo thusang or a rakgadi to help, or can't even afford, for example, to go to a specialist of some sort, so I definitely think, and I know for a fact that we will have our esteemed guests.
Yes.
Yes. But I think just parting shots would just be, number one,
Yes.
from the moment you know that you are pregnant, you're practically speaking, just eating healthier foods, whole foods. I know sometimes it's hard. Sometimes how about guys, you don't feel like anything. Mara take a walk around, because just smaller yana things actually add up to that day you're giving birth.
Yes.
Smaller yana things, they add up. And if you so tatazela, I say lukona uling 7 months koratu. You're doing disjustice to yourself. So I think that's the one time where you need to love yourself and connect to self even more, because now you're carrying this beautiful gift, and we tate and honor yourself. Like, don't wait for it to come from someone else. Honor yourself in the state that you are, with the little that you might have at that time. We tlhokomele o hlape, o be right. Ube in the right frame, of mind as well. So, yeah, but we'll definitely get that person. I know for a fact we will.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Keep watching this space. We're bringing a specialist, definitely. Libo mebane ba khale, ba hlang Limpopo le kwana hae ka Lesotho le Qwaqwa manene. Bana ba thusang hore ngwana a tliswe safely. Hopolang, there's nothing wrong with going back to our roots in terms of how we do certain things.
Yeah.
Everything in this universe has its place, space and time. Ufola bo motle tshwane le nna.
Yes.
Ngwaneso, a leboha.